Hello, it's Joyce Flaherty Di Donato coming to you from my home to yours in this extraordinarily unique moment in time. Here we are. I'm about 5 weeks into the quarantine. We're all at different stages here, and it's been an extraordinary moment of tidal waves of emotion. I've heard this described as the great pause, which I find to be very prophetic and very apt for this. In music, the pause, the silence, the rest, oftentimes has the most power. We do a piece that I sang in your concert hall, Morgan. And if we create the right kind of atmosphere, there's a suspension of breath collectively as a community, a suspension of breath. And we don't dare breathe as the violin cuts off in the last note. And that silence, the pause, is where time stops. It's where our heart is connected to something outside of ourselves. And I'm trying to find the way to let this pause, this directive from Mother Nature to be quiet and to go inside, I'm trying to let it speak to me. I live in a world of noise. I scream for a living, on pitch usually. And it's where I spend my life, full of people and communication and connection. And it's never occurred to me to take a time out to stay quiet for this amount of time. But I figured it's probably the only moment in my life that I'll be able to do this. And I wanted to make the most of it. So I haven't been singing too much. I won't get too out of shape. But I've been looking to nurture myself in other ways that I'm not able to when I'm on tour and when I'm traveling. And I'm very grateful for the chance to be in a place where I can take this pause and this silence and this rest. But at the same time, I have waves of huge uncertainty and fear and horror about looking what so many people are having to endure at this time. And it affects my heart, it affects me, because I can only help so much, I can only do so much, and yet we're all in this together, and yet we're experiencing it separately at the same time. So this journey for me is very much a work in progress. And instead of coming to you and offering music, I thought I might read a poem. It would be the first time in my life I've read a poem publicly, so be kind. But it's by a poet named John O'Donohue. And when I read it, it brought real tears to my eyes because I thought, this person understands. This person gets it. It was written and published in 2008, so before the Great Pause. But it's certainly apt of the moment that we're living. And I wanted to offer it to you as to let you know where my mind is, where my heart is, and to offer you comfort as well, and to see if it speaks to you. This is called For the Interim Time by John O'Donohue. When near the end of day, life is drained out of light, and it is too soon for the mind of night to have darkened things. No place looks like itself. Loss of outline makes everything look strangely in between, unsure of what has been or what might come. In this wan light, even trees seem groundless. In a while, it will be night, but nothing here seems to believe the relief of darkness. You are in this time of the interim, where everything seems withheld. The path you took to get here has washed out, The way forward is still concealed from you. The old is not old enough to have died away. The new is still too young to be born. You cannot lay claim to anything. In this place of dusk, your eyes are blurred, and there is no mirror. Everyone else has lost sight of your heart, and you can see nowhere to put your trust. You know you have to make your own way, though. As far as you can, hold your confidence. Do not allow confusion to squander this call which is loosening your foots in false ground, that you might come free from all you have outgrown. What is being transfigured here in your mind, and it is difficult and slow to become new, the more faithfully you can endure here, the more refined your heart will become for your arrival in the new dawn. I love this poem because it acknowledges the darkness and the uncertainty, but it also challenges us to trust that things are changing and maybe changing within us, and challenging us to go forward even when the path is uncertain and behind us it seems vague. I don't know how we all emerge from this, but I have such faith and certainty that if we use this time of quiet, not to be distracted and entertained in this moment, but to really go inside and ask what kind of life we want to emerge from, what we want to walk into, independent of governments and independent of politics and policies, but for ourselves, within ourselves, for our families, for our friends, our community. What kind of communicator and musician do I want to be when I return to your stage? I don't want to take it for granted that I'll return and do exactly what I've always done. It may, on the surface, seem that way, but I want to make sure that I integrate this silence, this pause, and that I personally don't necessarily return to business as usual and go back into the same rhythm without the awareness of what this moment has been. The chance to connect to nature, the chance to nurture the relationships that I treasure, and the chance to be by myself. In the interim, I'm working at not being overwhelmed by this. I joke with my friends that it feels like we've all been thrown into an immersive Buddhist boot camp, like get present, you know? And I joke about it, but actually it is true. The only place that we can function from right now is the present. And so I'm curious what it will be like when we emerge. I can't wait to return to your stage. I'll do my best to bring my whole self, that I arrive from this interim moment, from this particular storm, from this great pause, and we will connect again, and we will be present, I think, in a richer way. So I wish you much health. Nourish everything within yourself that you can to see the positive in this and to use this time, which will go quickly, actually. I think it's going to disappear quickly. I mean, on a calendar, I don't know, but I can already feel that it's going to move. We'll say, wow, do you remember the great pause? So let's hold each other's hand virtually and walk through this interim moment into an unknown future, but strongly and with presence of mind and peace of heart. This is Joyce Flaherty, wishing you a grand day.